Good morning, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me, please, before we go full on into today's early morning live stream. I do not have my coffee with me this morning. I have a dog instead, in case anybody notices. He is getting a bath in about 30 minutes. So I figured now would be a great time to just have the most random conversation with you guys while I wait for the grooming place to open up. I hope you're having a fabulous Wednesday. It is hump day, my dude. So happy Wednesday to everybody. It's the 14th. So the title, you guys saw the title of this live stream. Please help me understand. And it kind of goes with a ton of stuff. I'm trying to understand exactly what people want right now, what YouTube is doing, because it's crazy to me. So for the longest, let's think about this. For the longest, every time you turned on the TV or any social media app, it was all about Elon Musk and Tesla and the vandalism and Elon Musk the Nazi and all this other stuff, right? I mean, you could not go anywhere without seeing Elon Musk. And now suddenly it's like broski has fallen off the face of the earth because there's no more talk about him. The left isn't pushing it. Mainstream media isn't pushing him. There's nothing going on with Elon Musk. So then there was all this talk about how Trump is doing an awful job and everything else. And now that things are starting to kind of sort of fall in place, you're not even hearing that as much. There's less negative talk about President Trump from the left, it seems, so far from what I've seen, at least via social media and stuff like that. Mainstream news, that doesn't count because they're always going to talk crap no matter what. But it's been kind of crazy to me how there's no consistency anymore. And that may sound stupid. Actually, the only thing that seems to be consistent these days is the massive push for racism. And they're calling it black fatigue, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I don't get on X anymore. Let me explain to you. I mean, I do every once in a while, but I try not to, because every single time I get on X, for some reason, X has decided that it needs to be the most racist platform I've ever seen in my entire life. Every time I get on there, it's showing videos of Black Americans doing things that would be considered ghetto. And I'm like, you do realize there's white Americans who are just as trashy as the videos that you're showing me over here, like the fighting on cruise ships, the looting in malls, the whatever else. But right now, and this is what happened the first time, y'all, this is what happened the first time President Trump was in office. They pushed that massive racial divide, and it feels like they're back on it. But every single time I get on there, I'm like, what has happened here? Because in the beginning, when we were talking about the election and everything that was going on before the election, we're talking about Tim Walz, Kamala Harris, we're talking about Joe Biden, we were talking about Trump and Vance and Vivek and Elon and Tulsi and RFK. We're talking about everybody, right? And it felt like then you at least had the highs and the lows of both sides at your fingertips. Like you could get on any social media platform and you were going to hear people spouting all kinds of crap about every single individual. And then you can look on the flip side and see people talking as highly and positively as possible about those exact same people. Now, it's very weird to me. It feels real Twilight Zone-ish, only because it feels like everything has gone neutral, right? Very neutral, except for the racial divide push, which I don't love it. So yesterday, I think it was yesterday, President Trump brought in white Africans. That's what everybody's calling this. Oh, he brought in the white Africans. Can't bring in the black Africans. That's what the whole talk is right now. And it's crazy to me that what I do see is that at least what I see when I jump on social media, it's what it shows me, are the same people that were completely okay with open borders and millions upon millions of people coming in with no purpose and, taking money and stuff like that. They were fine with it, are the same people who are now making TikTok videos screaming at the top of their lungs about the white Africans that Donald Trump brought in. And it's like, but you can't be mad at this when you were okay with this. Like, you have to pick a thing, right? Look, I feel like Donald Trump when I do that. It's not on purpose, but you have to pick a thing. It's just, so I have been kind of I don't want to use words spiraling, but spirally, it sounds right, on YouTube over here on SquirrelTribe, because my brain is going, well, I want to talk about these things. Like look, I have these things that I've sent myself. I want to talk about the US and China reached the deal for the temporary tariff halt, right, for 90 days. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the lithium deposits that have been found here in the US. I want to talk about the massive bank closing dozens of branches between Canada and here. I want to talk about the anchor who, when the chick next to him passed out and fell out, he kept doing his job and people are dragging him through the mud about it. Like, I want to talk about all these different things, but it feels like nobody gives a shit about anything anymore. Maybe that's what it is. I feel like nobody gives a crap about anything anymore. Now it's just either how much can you consume of the negative, or how much can you crap on the positive, but there's no like happy medium, right? I don't like, what do you guys, I'm curious, like, what are y'all looking, like, if you look stuff up, like, let's say you jump here on YouTube, maybe you're over on X, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you happen to be. Do you search for things? Like, that's been my question. Like, do you go to the search bar and type in, that you want to search up Donald Trump? Do you type in tariffs? Do you type in any of those things? Or do you just look at whatever they give you? Because that's where the problem seems to be coming in. If I pull up, shits and giggles, well, since we're here together, if I pull up my YouTube home screen, let's make sure the volume's down or else we're going to have screeching, whatever. So I pull up my YouTube home and it shows me the most random stuff. Okay, there's my husband a couple different times, but it's a lot of TikTok stuff. But I guess because I've been looking at stuff on the weight loss and stuff like that, that's why my home screen looks the way it does. But it's not showing me anything political anymore. It's not showing me anything Trump related, nothing Biden related, nothing Kamala related. Like, I have to go search for anything that has to do with what is actually going on in this country right now. And even then, when I find it, it always has such a lean to it, whether it's leaning left or it's leaning right, depending on who wrote it, that it's hard to fully jump into it, because it's like, well, is this truthful? Is what I'm reading truthful? Is it skewed with opinion? Which I know the irony there, because I give my opinion on every damn thing. But it makes it difficult to even want to dive into things lately. I had somebody who left a comment yesterday, and I don't know why it rubbed me the wrong way, but it put me in a pissy mood for a minute, because somebody left a comment and they said, I started following you after the East Palestine train derailment. How come you don't talk about train derailments anymore? That's what I was here for. And my brain goes, why the fuck do you want there to constantly be train derailments? Why is that all you want, is train derailments? Like, I'm sure that's not how it was meant. In theory, it's not how it was meant, but that's how my brain heard it. And I'm like, why do you want it to always be negative stuff? Like, a train derailment is never going to be a positive thing. Like, I've tried to think of every scenario possible where a train derailment is a possible thing. And the only time that would be possible is if you're in like a Wild Wild West movie and the train's been hijacked and you're trying to save the damsel in distress. Like, I can't see why there would ever be a positive train derailment. So for the person to say, I don't watch you as much anymore, why don't you talk about train derailments anymore? Well, one, somehow they all just kind of stopped happening. That's a whole thing. And two, I don't go looking for them. Like, it's hard for me as a person who wants to hold on to my sanity to get on a computer every day and go, what's the baddest or worst shit happening right now? Like, and try to look it up to bring it to y'all. Like, what? It's, as my mother would say, bass backwards, and it feels wrong. And I told my husband, I said, I don't know what to do with my channel. And this is why. Let me explain why. Because this channel has been up and down, up and down, up and down. Y'all, if you've been here for more than a day, we've talked about everything under the sun and left, right of it, right? And a lot of times there's a lot of negativity depending on what the conversation is. A lot of times there's positivity depending on what the conversation is. It's not like I start out the day going, oh, let me go out and, F up somebody's day with some negativity. No. But right now, I find it hard for me to have discussions about anything, because there's so much negativity that comes back my way. If I talk about this, well, why aren't you talking about that? Okay, cool. I'll talk about that. Well, why the hell are you talking about that? You should talk about this. Okay, well, let me talk about this. Oh my God, I liked it better when you talked about that. And it's like, hello? I don't really know what to do, because I let the voice of the few that vocalize it kind of impact the way I think about what I want to do. And I don't know if I'm the only one like that. And y'all probably, there's the possibility y'all going, what the hell is she even talking about? But y'all are therapy for me. So I appreciate you immensely for being here, because y'all are therapy for me. It helps me to vocalize things. And I think a lot of people don't get that ability, which is also probably why so many people are in the live chats or do get in the comment section, because they get to vocalize what they think and what they feel and whatever. And I never want to take that away from people. So I still want to talk about the things that people want to hear about, but I'm trying to figure out how to talk about things in a way where at the end of the video, because this is what it is. At the end of the video, I want people, or live stream, I want people to feel like they've either learned something or at least enjoyed what they were listening to, even if they didn't learn anything. I don't like the fact that every once in a while, and I know it for a fact, that when a video is done, people are going to be in a negative mind space or angry or whatever else, because I don't want to be that person. So there's that. So instead, I've decided that we're just going to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about, which generally speaking, I do anyway. But the other thing I have figured out is, which is still the crappiest thing in the world, if I don't title something for the most negative thing out there, it gets this many views. And I'm like, y'all don't understand. This is a really good conversation. But if I don't title it, oh no, sky is falling, earth is ending, fire, beware, blah, blah, nobody clicks on it. So then if I title it for that, then people get in there and the comments are negative, because just from the title alone, they've already put themselves into a negative mind frame. See, this is where the difficulty of life comes in, but life on YouTube specifically comes in, because I don't want to be like, I don't want people to go around going, oh, I watch SquirrelTribe. Do you watch her? Yeah, she brings you all the bad shit. Ew. But I also don't want to be, well, I watch SquirrelTribe, but she didn't really do anything or bring us anything useful. So meh, right? Anyway, that's how I feel about everything this morning. That's how I felt about it last night. And I've been thinking about it for a very long time. Like, if you watched yesterday's video, I was talking about the service industry and restaurants and stuff. And this is where I feel like I'm not diagnosed with anything. I'm not going to go to the doctor and be like, can you tell me what's wrong with me? No, but I do feel like there's probably just a little bit of ADD in there, whatever. It's just the way my personality is. But at the same time, I have weird anxiety. You would think that by doing this for as long as I've been doing it, the anxiety would have gone away at some point. Monica, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you. You would think that the anxiety would have gone away. I recorded in my own effing house yesterday, in my own living room. And my husband was in the shower. And the second I heard the water turn off, weirdly, my anxiety kicked in and I couldn't remember how to talk about the things I wanted to talk about the way I wanted to talk about them. In my car is the easiest place in the world for me to be. It makes absolutely no sense. I'm fully aware of it. I have a whole ass house that I could record in and talk to you guys from. My bathroom, I do it in there all the time, because it's like a safe haven cocoon kind of thing for me. And this is the same way. Like, people could be walking by and driving by and it does not affect me at all. But in my own damn house, I don't understand. It's just the way it is. So my dog, we got a little bit more time. So I want to talk to you guys about this because I thought this was just extremely interesting lithium deposit stuff. So number one, I don't know how to title lithium deposit stuff. So we're just going to push it into this live stream. So we've been talking about how, well, not just we, but like the world has been talking about how you have to have trade in order for everything to work. You have to have trade. So you have to be able to pull from China, Vietnam, you got to pull from Brazil, Mexico, all these different places, right? And we also, in order for us to be resourceful, we need to be able to send stuff out for trade, right? It goes back and forth. We were trading before we even had a constitution. Things were back and forth. You have to have trade. And a lot of people have been talking crap about President Trump and what he's been doing. And I do want to point this out. And it's going to sound negative against Trump, but it's not. It's just the way my brain works. And it might be negative, but it's just the way my brain works. So when the tariff talks started, right? Between the United States and China, they kept upping them, right? Kept going up, like whose is bigger kind of thing. Playing chicken with, our money. Playing chicken. That's a good way to put it. Playing chicken with our money. But they're upping the tariffs across the board. And then they have this conversation. They sit down and they have this conversation and they go, okay, listen, we're going to bring the tariffs back down for 90 days. We're going to bring it back down for 90 days. We're going to tariff you. I think it's 30%. I'm going to pull numbers out my butt here because I don't remember. We're going to tariff you, China, 30%. And China's like, well, we're going to tariff you, US, 15, 20%. I don't know. We're tariffing them more than they're tariffing us. I know that much right now. But what I do also know is that those China tariffs went up a little bit. So I told my husband, I said, what if this whole thing, and again, this is not negative against Trump, but this is a business thinking standpoint. What if this whole tariff up and down thing was the business plan from the beginning? Because now it's just like the eggs. Okay, stay with me here. It's just like the eggs. The cost of eggs was here. It shot up through the roof and then it came back down. And we're so excited that it came back down, but it still didn't come back down to here. It's here. But at least it's not here. And that's how we're looking at things. Well, at least it's not as expensive as it was, but we're not going, well, why isn't it as cheap as it was, right? So these tariffs that are now between China and the US, they are both higher than they were. They are both higher than they were, but we're all going, well, at least they're not as high as they were going to be. So my brain, thinking in a business form, goes, well, I wonder how many conversations they had together in order to go ahead and get on the same page of how they're both going to raise the tariff so that they can both benefit off these things. And here we are, out of the loophole or out of the conversation as the citizens of both countries and everywhere else. And we're just excited that it's not 145%, and it's not 125%, it's not this or that, but it's still higher than it was. It's still higher than it was. And I think that's the important thing to remember, that we have a tendency, because of the way we've been gaslit as a nation and a world, really, to be happy with the positives that they give us, right? Oh, here, it's like that. What is it from? What is it? I can't think of it. My brain can't do it. Oliver Twist. May I have some more, please? Like the porridge shit, right? Like that kind of thing. And that's what this is. Your prices shoot through the roof and then they drop back down and you're super excited, not paying attention to the fact that they're not as low as they were before. And yet inflation has been a thing, but inflation is still based off of fake numbers. Like, you have to realize that. And this is what drives me bonkers, is the only reason things cost as much as they do is because people are willing to pay as much as they do for that thing. If people weren't willing to pay that much for that thing, the cost would come down. Inflation would come down. But because people are willing, it just continues to go up. At no point in time, I've talked about this before, there's a condo in Destin that we used to go to every single year for over a decade when, before we moved to Florida. We would go every single year. We would take my mom and my husband's mom and our daughter, and we would all go and hang out for a couple of days at the beach. And we'd stay in this one condo, 3-bed, 3-bath, and it would cost us maybe, depending on the time of year, $1,200 to $2,500 for, 6 or 7 nights, depending on the time of year. And I told my husband, I said, this would be a great investment, right? And this was in 2019. Maybe even the beginning of 2020, before, the world went to complete and utter shit. I said, we should buy a condo here. We should buy this condo because it's an investment. This condo, 3-bed, 3-bath, literally set right back from the beach. You could see the water, all that fun stuff. And it was just under $400,000. And I told him, I said, this would be a really good investment. Go get a loan, get this condo. And when we're not here, we rent it out, like that whole Airbnb thing, whatever. This is a good asset to have. It's a great investment to have. When we want to go to the beach, we've already got it. And then at some point in time, we can sell it if we want to, whatever. Or when our daughter is 18, if she wants to move out, it'd be a great place for her to live because she'd be at the beach. It was a whole entire thing that I thought about. Then COVID hit. And I told my husband, I said, man, we should have done this already. We could be living at the beach during COVID. I go and look at this exact same. And when I tell you exact same, literally the exact same unit, Nothing had changed on this mofo. It was now over $750,000. Exact same unit. Nothing had changed. The only thing that had changed was that because of COVID and because of the way Florida was running itself and because it was near the beach and you could be outdoors safely, people were willing to pay more for all these places. And same thing in other cities and states, right? So the prices shot through the effing roof for no apparent reason other than somebody was willing to pay that. Somebody was willing to pay it. And so there went all the prices through the roof. And here we are. Eggs went through the roof and people were still paying $12 for 12 eggs, $1 egg. Have you lost your ever loving mind? Eat something else. So then it started to work and they were like, oh, bird flu's over. And so then the prices started to come back down and you're like, oh gosh, thankfully eggs are only $4 for a dozen now. Well, honey boo boo, they were $1.50 before they were ever $12. So we're still in this inflated cost of everything only because we have been conditioned to think that this new price is great because it's not that price. It's not what it was. Y'all, my brain is very overwhelming sometimes. I have way too many thoughts going on. But anyway, back to the lithium. Hello, I completely forgot what we were doing here. So I saw this thing in Oregon. Okay, so they're saying that there's a lithium deposit valued at $1.5 trillion. It has been discovered, just randomly been discovered in Oregon. Now, before I go anywhere with anything, the reason this is extremely interesting to me is because about 300 miles off the coast of Oregon, there's a volcano. There's a miles long volcano. I don't remember how long it is, but there's a volcano 300 miles off the coast of Oregon that they are saying is going to erupt this year. And they're going, oh, but don't worry, we don't think it'll create tsunamis. We don't think it's going to be a big deal or whatever else. But they say that this volcano that's out there in the ocean has been like doing its little seismic stuff. And it's going to just, whatever, by the end of 2025. They can't give us a specific date because if they could, witchcraft or planned. That's how I think about it. If you can give me a specific date when this is going to happen as a volcano eruption or an earthquake, no. So the fact that they have just found a lithium deposit and then there's going to be this massive volcano erupting, I wonder if that's going to help them get closer to this lithium deposit that they're having to fight the people of Oregon for because nobody wants them digging up the land and doing all this other stuff. But however, again, brain, conspiracy theorist at heart, I guess. However, if this volcano just randomly erupts in 2025, right after they happen to find this lithium mine or lithium whatever in the exact same location that this volcano that's been dormant for ever, it's just, anyway. So it says McDermott caldera in Oregon is attracting attention for what could be one of the largest lithium deposits ever identified in the United States. Many view it as a potential boost for domestic battery production, while local communities voice concern over the impact on wildlife and cultural sites. You know what's really, really bad for the environment? It's going to be a shocker here. Fucking lithium batteries. Very, very bad for the environment. And yet, the same people who are like, oh my gosh, you're running gas and diesel. Ew, no, it's so gross. Those same people that don't want the smoke in the air have no problem with us pulling out lithium to make these batteries that will explode, that when they catch fire, you can't put the fire out, that when you go to bury them later in the land, now that you've taken the lithium and mixed it with some other shit and made it super volatile, now you just have eroding crap everywhere. Anyway, so it says the excitement doesn't stem because of lithium. The excitement stems because of the money they can make from said lithium. The excitement stems from estimates that value the deposit at about 1.5 trillion. Some geologists say these ancient volcanic sediments could contain between 20 and 40 million metric tons of lithium. This feature is 16 million years old, and they just happened to find it right before a volcano is going to explode. This feature is 16 million years old, and we're making decisions in a matter of years. This is according to some dude named Sammy, who's a geologist at Treasure Valley Community College. Community College? Okay. it says here that industry advocates see a path to addressing the ballooning need for electric vehicle batteries. No, no, there is no ballooning need for electric vehicle batteries, especially if you do pay attention to what's happened over the last couple months with the left destroying Teslas and trying to destroy them, although they're also supposed to love electric vehicles. It's very, very two-sided, two-faced there with that whole thing that's going on. There is no reason why we must have electric anything. We could do hydrogen. We could run some shit on some corn. We could figure out how to do water propulsion. We could do all these things that have already been figured out. And then suddenly all those people who figured out have died. That's interesting in and of itself. But we do not need batteries like that. We really don't. So anyway, it says here, the BLM, Bureau of Land Management, not Black Lives Matter. The BLM once offered a brief window for public comment. They were going to let the public decide how this was going to work. And then they were like, oh, no, y'all aren't on board with us. Shut that shit down. So they quit letting the public talk about it. Now, the Oregon chapter of the Sierra Club indicates they support cleaner energy, but believe drilling must not come at the expense of fragile habitats. You know what fragile habitat that would be? Our entire planet. Like if we continuously try to open up the Earth's core to pull all the shit out of it so that we can make a battery, so we can make a car that goes faster than it needs to and whatever, we're going to destroy this planet. The same people trying to fix it and save it are the ones who are going to bring about its demise so much faster. It's absolutely ridiculous. Because on top of this, look, I have 75 different emails. Let me figure out how to get out of this thing because there's another one. Where the hell's the button? I don't know how to get out of here. Where's the done button? Where's the back button? There it is. Y'all, me and technology. You would think I'm 900 years old and don't know how to use anything. So I got to find the next right thing. Please hold. Oh, so then they found a phosphate deposit worth 12 trillion in a totally unexpected location. This one is in Norway. So between Norway digging up everything to get to this $12 trillion worth of phosphate here in Oregon, then wanting to dig up all of the lithium. You're on opposite sides here, causing all kinds of technically seismic activity. When you're fracking, you're going to start to cause a lot of underground activity, right? Then I saw this thing about, where is it? Come on. The pole shifts. I know I saved you, but I have 7,000 different emails. Nope, that's not the right one. That's DeSantis. That's not it. So then I came across this thing. They're like, hey, side note, the poles are shifting, North and South Pole are shifting, and this could, cause some issues. And I'm like, does this have anything to do with all of the drilling, all of the other stuff that's going on already? Where is it? I have one title here, fake news. That's funny. Earth poles. Here we go. Open up. Where are you? Where is this? Earth's magnetic North Pole is on the move, and scientists just updated its position. So according to this, Earth's magnetic pole shift, projected to happen in the 2040s, so in like 15 years, will cause massive global flooding and a 104-degree shift of Earth's rotational axis. No plans this summer? Consider building an ark. That is what is being said right now, because that's 15 years. Okay. They're saying that the poles are shifting, and it's happened before, but they said that the magnetic poles of North and South Pole shifted like 17,000 years ago. So then my brain is like, what happened 17,000 years ago? Was there a massive catastrophic flood? Was there a massive fire? Was there any of this other stuff? Because I would like to know what occurred during that last shift to understand what could occur during this future shift, right? So in 2040, they are expecting us to have massive flooding. I'm like, bitch, that's 15 years. That's 15 years. I, in theory, will be a grandmother by then. So I got to worry about my grandbabies knowing how to swim or climb onto an ark. Those are the two options. So I'm looking at this whole thing, and I click on it because there's all this information. So then I start Googling the shit out of stuff, right? So I said, I wanted like a breakdown of it. And it said, according to this, CNN reports that Earth's magnetic North Pole is moving towards Russia and Siberia, which has been accelerating in recent years. This movement is causing scientists to update navigation systems used by airlines, militaries, and other organizations, which is also extremely important. Think about all of the airplanes that have gone down in the last whatever. Think of all the trains that have gone off kilter. Think of all these different things that have happened. People have gone missing, whatever else. Our GPS, our navigations, even our compasses that we use are all going to be off if the polls are shifting and they're not updated, right? Like these are the most random things in the world. Sarah said, I saw a Metallica concert cost something last week. So they were at, my brain wants to say Virginia Tech, but I think that's wrong. They were at a college and they had a concert, and there was such a massive outpouring of energy from the concert goers that it literally it picked up as an earthquake, like the seismic whatever. It picked up as an earthquake because they were able to vibrate the ground from all of the stomping and dancing and the whatevering, which is, I mean, it was Inner Sandman. Yeah. So Virginia Tech. See, I was right. Yes. But I love Metallica, so it is what it is. But according to this, listen, the magnetic North Pole has been steadily moving across the Canadian Arctic towards Russia since 1831, but its pace has accelerated in recent years, moving closer to Siberia. And then, while not expected soon, although I do believe 2040 is pretty effing soon, scientists discuss the possibility of a magnetic pole reversal where the magnetic north and south poles would flip. The last significant flip was approximately 750,000 years ago. And now they're saying that we are on that path, right? So then I was like, one more question for you here, Google. And I said, what happened the last time there was a magnetic pole reversal? Because obviously curiosity drowned the cat, I guess. And it said the most recent major geomagnetic excursion, known as Lechamp excursion, occurred approximately 42,000 years ago. During this period, the Earth's magnetic field weakened significantly and the poles reversed. Although this reversal was short-lived, the North Pole wandered across North America, Antarctica, and the Indian Ocean. The field's strength dropped to about 6% of its current strength. I don't even know what that means, but I know that it sounds terrifying for me. I don't know what's happening there, but when they're talking about the fact that there could be major flooding, they're talking right now, like I said, about the volcano off the coast of Oregon and all these different things. It's like there's so much going on, and they don't talk about any of this kind of stuff. There's none of that. Like I said, you get up on social media and it's just, you know, whatever they're calling it. What are they calling it? Oh, I forgot the word. I used it earlier. It doesn't matter. It's all race stuff, all race-based stuff. So I'm like, I feel like this stuff is a little bit more important than that, but that's just my thought process on things. So instead of worrying about it, I'm going to dive into certain things and bring it to y'all, and we'll just have the conversations, and then maybe it makes y'all want to go look stuff up, right? Like, I think you should always do your own research on things as well, not just listen to everybody. I don't just listen to anybody. I still go look things up, because you just never know. Everybody has their own opinions. Everybody has the way they view things. I'm wrong sometimes. I'm generally speaking, the first one to tell you when I'm wrong on something, unless somebody beats me to it. But you've got to, we as a society have to get back to the encyclopedia days, right? Where you would, if you wanted to know something, take your ass to the library, pull out the little thing, look up the card that tells you where the book is, go find the book, go find the page that it's on, then write it down. Not just obviously pull up your phone and stuff, which, you know, the irony, because that's exactly what I did. I pulled up social media and internet stuff, but we have got to remember how to do things. There was where I live, there was a community post on Facebook asking for people who could read cursive so that they could go through the archives here and translate them into non-cursive. Translate. It's still fucking English. What do you mean translate? It's just, instead of being like swoopy curly, it's just straight. That's all it is. Cursive is swoopy curly, regular straight. That's all. And there's so few people who know how to read cursive now that they had to put out a social media post asking if anybody knew how to read cursive and could translate it to non-cursive. That is all. That is all. Something to think about when you're out there. From now on, I'm going to write everything in cursive, just everything. I had to sign my name, y'all. I had to sign my name 2 days ago for the tag for my husband's car. I had to sign my name, and I had to sign my whole name. And I haven't signed my middle name since I was like 12, because ew, who does that? Full last name. I don't do that. It's like serial killer. 3 names is serial killer, right? But I had to sign my whole name, and I realized that since I left corporate America, I don't write. I don't write anything. So now I'm the person who needs to like pick up pen and paper and just sit there and write all day long, because it came time to sign my name and I was like, ew, my hand did not know what to do with itself because I'm so used to this and this. Our future is effed. Like, think about it. My kid doesn't have to write anything down. Well, she still writes for school, but a lot of time it's on computer stuff. Anyway, practice your cursive, practice your writing, go read an encyclopedia. That's what I'm going to tell everybody from now on. Go read an encyclopedia and practice writing, because those things are always going to be important. If technology were to go just belly up tomorrow, you better know how to write, and you better know how to like go find a book and read. That's it. Squirrel Tribe, I love y'all immensely. I got to take this floofy little thing. Hi, Floofy. Mac Depot. I got to take him over to get his bath because he's a stinking little thing. And I will see you guys again a little bit later. Again, thank you for letting me have every conversation that we have together. I do appreciate you immensely, and I love you even more than that. So y'all have a great day. See you later.